All right, good afternoon. It is Friday, October 29th, 2021, and really we're looking at an uptrend all day. We weren't able to find this channel until about here, which is less than an hour before close. So you wouldn't have known that. You just got to stick to the shorter term trend channels. And you can see we made a measured leg up around here, and once we hit that, we went a couple points further and just went sideways there. And we did not hit the measured move of the overnights. Oh, I bet you we're coming close right now. Let's take a look. This is going to be approximate, but I just took away the overnight range because I didn't. Yep, now we hit it. So that's market geometry right there. We didn't hit it, and we started trending lower, but then we get a bounce towards the close of the market, and then it hit it, and you can see it made like a little double top, formed some congestion, broke that channel, and then it's testing that level again. So you really had to be patient today. There were not, on my chart, there were not a lot of good entries, unfortunately. So it was a really good practice for me. I thought I spotted something late in the day, and I got trapped. I think it was like up here in this congestion. I started to go short. I think we'll see, but yeah, let's take a look at these trades. Quick note. Next Friday I won't be able to make a video. I got to travel, so I'll try and bring that up next week as well, but I always forget to bring things like that up. So anyway, let's check it out. 5 o'clock comes in right about here. So you had a first entry and a failed second entry short right here. We did have a break of this channel, and prices are bouncing off the midline. So we did also, after the break, make a new low. So first failed second entry, that's at 435. Okay, so I don't think you can go short there really. This is at 5 o'clock. First entry, failed second entry, long. You could have looked at that, but I wasn't looking for shorts here. It started to look a little like we were making a bottom, and the prices were bouncing off yesterday's open. So I started thinking about going long, and you have a first second entry right here, and that sets up really well. So you might take that. I didn't like. I'm pretty sure when I had my chart open this morning, this was an inside bar for me. But I didn't like how close it was to the highs. And you can see, you would have had a heart attack. I think that was like, you get 4 ticks, I think. Yeah, so you enter at 68.75 and 69.75, and it comes down. And I like this one better. It's like a higher low. So this was an inside bar on my chart. That's why I'm not marking it. I think if it was set up like this, I probably would have liked it more. But yeah, on my chart earlier, it was an inside bar. So, but I don't see how you could enter any of this. This is just the first entry. First entry, this is kind of like a failed second entry short here, but I don't think you can enter that. Look how bearish that bar is. This is not a new low, so you can't enter that. And we just start trending higher. You get this really nice move up, and there's just nothing there. Form this congestion. And that's all it is just congestion. There's no entries in there. I don't I don't see how you can enter any of that. And that's what I'm saying. You had to be really patient this morning. So we formed this range, and I drew it like, I think I had the midline off of these two touches right here. So you see we hit the measured move when we break out, and then that fails, and we come back. And we break out again, and that fails, and you get a first entry, failed second entry, and you might try and get a runner out of that. After that nice leg down, I like that. That's a very bearish bar. You can see we don't make a measured move, and as Mac always says, when we don't make a measured move in one direction, usually goes further in the other direction, and that's exactly what happened. So here, oh, this is where I got trapped. Okay, so you got to be playing this like congestion that we broke higher into. And we had just broken out over the overnight highs, and that's why I was looking for shorts. And so we come down here, and first entry, man, did I go short on? Oh, I went short on this bar. So this was just poor behavior. Actually, you know what? I'll talk about that later. But if you're looking at this correctly, like a range, and you're expecting prices to break back into that range, you might take this first failed second entry, but look how congested that is. That's super congestive. You might go long on this first second entry on this inside bar, but inside bars are unreliable. So this is tough. You just have to stay out. You really have to stay out. I didn't know what was going on. My brain, I'll talk about it. My brain convinced myself like I knew what was going on there. Here you just get a nice bearish bar off of these highs, so you might consider going short there, but then it looks like we have a trend line as soon as it bounces here. So, and we have, this kind of looks like a new low. Technically it isn't. This is the new low, so you get a first entry. The failure happens when it ticks above this. So this is really aggressive. I don't think I can mark that actually, but you might take this as a failure, but it's not off the trend line and it's far from the EMA. This is too far from the EMA. Here we get a break, and you get a first entry. The first good trade of the day comes at 9:02. So you had to sit there for an hour and a half. No, 2.5 hours. Oh wait, no, that's actually the second good trade. Excuse me. I like this trade. I like this failure. But what time did that come? That came almost 45 minutes after the open, and then you had to wait an hour and a half after that for a good trade. And that's a good trade right there, and you can see a lot of people like that. First entry, second entry, good bullish bar that closes above the EMA after the first break of this strong channel up. But after that, we formed this congestion up here, and I drew my measured moves, and we find some support at the measured move down here, break back in, but there's just no entries in here. And finally, we get a first failed second entry long right here, very bearish bar. The reason, don't counter trend trade, but we make this, it looks like a first, second, triple test of this price level. And this was above the measure move that I had originally drawn, I think, which ended like right about here. So we make this leg down, and not only is it a failed second entry long, but it's a second entry short. And so I really like that. I like that entry a lot. And if you played the measure move, you would have hit your target. And then we try and confirm this channel here, but we just form some congestion. And I like this as like a lower high, because we get a second entry short, but it's above the EMA. So this looked like a lower high to me. But you only get 4 ticks out of that, so you might have gotten stopped out. I answered on a limit order, so luckily I got filled, but that's lucky. And this one it's a test of this price level, and it looks like it's at the top of congestion, so we just had a break of the channel, so we're expecting a move to a new low. And you can see we get that new low, and at that point all these traders are probably like, oh, this is probably the trend line, so you can't go long there. But you get a first entry, second entry, and that's a higher low off this trend line. And so really experienced traders, I'm sure they see that and they're taking a risk. It's definitely aggressive. It's below the EMA, but that might be a risk you want to take, and you can see that pays off. And I don't see how you could enter any of this. This is a failure, too far from the EMA. This is nothing, and this is just so congestive. But that's what I saw for today. Let's take a look at the trades I took. So yeah, I hadn't taken a trade all morning. I was being patient, and I had this congestion drawn, and I don't think I had the measured moves drawn, so that probably affected me too. But I was like, oh, we're reversing. And I took this is just the first entry, so it's just not a good trade. But really what happened was, like, I was like, I don't know, I drew a trend channel in a way that I would not normally draw it, and I was just convinced, like this. And I was just convincing myself, like, oh yeah, this is it. And it's like, well, clearly not, because this goes through it. So you're just trying to fit it to make yourself believe that this is a good entry, and it's not. And that's what happened to me, and I got stopped out. So then up here, I like this entry. Failed second entry long, and it's a second entry short, and I got a nice runner out of it. Could have gotten a point or two more if I just put it below each bar, but that's okay. And yeah, I don't think, there's no way I would have known this was the channel, so no problem with that really. And look how far you are from the EMA, so I'm okay with that. Never feel bad about taking profits. And then yeah, I got in on a limit order here, and lucky enough to scalp out. So this was too aggressive. I don't think, especially after the break, trust your trend lines. After the break, this is too aggressive. If we didn't have a break, I think you can enter this, but we did have a break. So, all right, that's what I saw for today, guys. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and I'll be back next week.